We have decided to swap the last two talks. So I'll ask Nuria on stage as the next speaker. What Dirk did in a qualitative, deep psychological way now, we are going to hear from Nuria more the numbers and the quantitative part. She actually is also going to talk about Instagram and TikTok, so it has a very nice bridge to her talk. Yeah, welcome Nuria. You are with iSquared since almost 3 years, working as a senior research consultant in the brand and media team. Yeah. And yeah, this is your everyday business, I would say. Yeah, before you worked in quantitative research, and your background is in marketing management, and you have a passion for social media. Yeah, and at iSquared you're working for some of our biggest clients, and you do a lot of research about ad effectiveness and brand impact. And I'm also very excited to hear your talk. Finally, I think I haven't heard it before. Faster TikTok, news from the social media cosmos.
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction. And I'm very happy to be standing here with some new, really fresh results, so to say, which is like the brand new news from the social media cosmos, and happy to present it today. And yeah, almost the last slot, but I hope I can have a bit of left meaningful attention from you. And one thing I observed during Dirk's presentation, when one of the funny TikToks were playing from the Deutsche Bahn, you were all laughing. And this is something I will get back to you later in my presentation, so keep that in mind. So faster TikTok. This is my presentation called. And we already heard that TikTok is a fast and really dynamic platform, and now we want to have a look on this platform in comparison to Instagram on a quantitative perspective. So what I'm going to present you is a really fresh new case study we conducted this year, which we conducted in the US with a sample of around about 150 participants aged 16 to 39 years old. And with a major research question in mind, how does these two platforms, TikTok and Instagram, differ from each other? How is usage behavior different? And then in the end, how this different usage behavior also influences ad perception? And then what can I, as a brand or an advertiser, learn from it? And we tested Sunbun and Samsung in the US, well-known brands over there. And what most of you probably already know is our really well-known in-context measurement, which we also implemented here in this case study, plus an AI layer from Real Eyes, which enabled us, and you will see it during the result presentation, to really close a gap in getting to know what meaningful attention is, and really, helping us to understand attention a bit deeper on a thorough level. So in context plus this layer really served as a good and valid basis to measure ad reception out there. Why? Because in context allows us to place an ad in the real context, so to say. So we ask participants to browse social media as they would normally do at home. Go on Instagram, go on TikTok, and do what you would normally do. And on TikTok, they were in the For You page and did the swiping, and also in never-ending swiping. We sent them out after 3 minutes. And on Instagram, we chose to select the story section to be comparable with regard to the format we tested. And their users just normally looked at the stories. And at one point, we replaced the ads by Samsung and Sunbun. And having this in mind, I just want to give you a brief overview on the ads we were testing. You see, there were a lot of them, but we wanted to make sure we test different scenarios for having a more thorough recommendation possible in the end. So we choose to control the type of ad, which is shown in the end, and we choose to select more image-related ads versus more product-related ads. And there were some differences, and I will give you a sneak peek in the end. So let's dive in a bit. What we mostly measure via our in-context tool, and this is one major metric which more or less serves as a proxy for attention measurement, is the playback duration. And what you can see here, that ads are played shorter on TikTok. Good for Instagram, isn't it? But there is a but. recognition and ad recall in turn are higher for TikTok. And this is something we observed already in a former case study last year, and this is something which is, replicated in this case study as well. So we have some question marks there. We can say that the proxy playback duration as for attention does not really translate into recognition. So there is a non-linearity we are observing. What actually is attention? And what actually is meaningful attention? And this is what we wanted to try to answer with this case study. And at iSquare, we usually use the neurosemiotic system for explaining human experience and also describing it. And this also serves for a basis for explaining what meaningful attention in the end can be. You already learned the definition today, but I just want to give you a quick and brief overview that you always have the integration of the three systems. So it's not only about perception, there's also system one, the more emotional, intuitive system, and also system two, the more explicit, rational system, going also in the summary or the sum of meaningful attention. And with these question marks and this model in mind, we thought, okay, let's take a step back. What do users actually see when they are browsing the platform? In a different study with Oculit, and Antje was sitting next to me, she will recognize the videos probably. We did some eye tracking on the screens of users, and you already also might recognize the ad you're seeing here. What we did is observe where users are looking at, and you see, or you have seen that on TikTok you have a whole different platform architecture. You have the sender placed twice or three times, while on the Instagram story section, there's only one sender in the creative placed and at the top left. So on TikTok, you have quite a lot more visual anchors for the user to look at, more parallel things happening at the same time, making it more a hamster wheel than the Instagram story section. So this fastness already emerges at this stage. And there's more. Remember the playback duration? You see here that we, with this in context plus AI thing, we could measure which degree of this playback duration, the perception windows, was really attentive in the end. And for both platforms, actually, it looks like quite good. But looking at the amount of time people are really distracted, you see that on Instagram, it's almost twice as high. So in the end, this means the probability to catch an attentive user while browsing TikTok is way higher than on Instagram. And there's even more about it. We asked the participants to rate their whole experience on TikTok and Instagram. And what happens? TikTok is rated, or the experience on TikTok is rated more engaging, it's more entertaining, it's more thought-provoking, and significantly less boring than Instagram. What does this mean in the end for me as an advertiser? When my ad is played, people tend to show way more positive emotions while looking at the ad. And this is really crucial to understand because, as we know as psychologists, positive emotions really serve as a really, really good frame to be kept in mind, to be remembered, and to be recognized. And this serves really as, solving our question marks we had in the beginning, closing the gap. Dirk already told you a lot about these two cosmoses, the two universes, but I want to give you a quick summary on both. We learn on Instagram, it's a more image-driven world. We are a bit more serial, we are slower. We are not slow, but slower than on TikTok. TikTok is more parallel, dynamic, it's faster. And probably the relationship between user and other users, or users and brands, it's more on eye level. It's more authentic, it's younger, and people are closer to each other than on Instagram. Remember the Dubai people? And I forgot one important point with the happiness emotions. Maybe you made the point yourself. You were maybe then observing yourself laughing while browsing TikTok or seeing the TikTok video. This is exactly what we measured here. Having people smiling and not being sad or really concentrated is something which affects you in the end as a user and also as a consumer. What we finally observe, Instagram is a world which now is more or less an expected world. As we are way more looking into a mirror, we want to build an image. We also know as a user when entering the app, I already know what will happen. I know that brand X, Y, or Z will be placing an ad there. While on TikTok, I want to be surprised. I want to be engaged. I want to have every piece of content played to me. So there's a whole different experience just from the motive perspective of the users. What this, in the end, means for our clients, advertisers out there, I want to give you a little sneak peek because I don't want to make it that long in the end. Remember that we tested different advertising strategies. Now I will show you some figures for really the image-related ads out there. And we see that brands really can profit by placing image ads on TikTok rather than product-based ads. What happens is ad recall, also recognition for image-based ads on TikTok, they go up, they increase on a significant level than on Instagram. And there's more. Also message comprehension, understanding what I see, and also remembering the main message is way higher on TikTok. Brands are associated more modern, they're liked more, and people also tell, well, I will recommend it. And in the end, what is really crucial is purchase desire is created, and also a value association. So yes, TikTok is fast, and TikTok might also appear sometimes trashy, but a certain value association and also pursuing your own life goals is there and is given. Bringing it all together, this means, in terms of meaningful attention, on all three systems, we see advantages for TikTok, especially for the image-related brands. On a perception level, we have a higher probability of attention. On an implicit level, we see people are happier when browsing TikTok, which serves as a positive frame for my ad to be placed. And on an explicit level, I can tell, or we can tell by now, that placing an image ad on TikTok, it means my message will be remembered. So keep in mind, in the end, in context, is more or less, the measurement which really is a predisposition, and at I-square serves as a predisposition for measuring and being able to measure meaningful attention, as we saw in our case study. We learned that playback duration might serve as a hint for perception, but is not directly translated into perception, and in the end, not linearly to ad impact. You learned also that TikTok is a platform which yields a whole different user experience and also makes you maybe a bit more happier in the end. And for me as an advertiser or a client, I can profit from placing an image ad. I don't have a cool ending slide, I noticed today, but I want to thank you very much for your meaningful attention as well.
Thank you. This was interesting and also really fast, actually. Not only. So, are there more questions? Are there questions?
Fast rush through.
Any questions from the audience? Yeah, one question.
Thank you very much. Very cool presentation. Considering the number of ads that you tested now in this study, how representative would you think they are for the general landscape out there? And considering that we already learned that the context of the platform has an impact on how ads are perceived and what is expected, basically, could it be that the results point towards the TikTok direction because they are, more likely to be expected in an environment as TikTok? Or would you consider them to be representative and a good mix that would both be expected on Instagram and TikTok?
It's a good question we pose ourselves as well, but this is something we already have seen in a case study we conducted last year where we fielded for around about 1,000 participants in the US. And this is emerged, so to say, as a trend. And I would say in terms of representativeness, well, yeah, the sample maybe is not that high, but it's representative for the exact target group of Instagram or TikTok users out there, which we want to address in the end as advertisers as well. So, yeah. the hypothesis being then, so to say, supported by this. But yeah, I'm not very deeply familiar in terms of this, so I hope this answer helps you.
Any more questions? Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. Regarding also the previous presentations, I'm asking myself if we observe the impact of ads or any kind of brand relation through these two platforms, might there be a shift over a longer period, meaning that TikTok is quite intensive when I used TikTok as well for a couple of times, and it's really also tiring. So after a while, you hardly remember things. So there might be, I think, for a certain, if you measure something, maybe for I think it was 4 minutes or something,
Yeah.
but over a longer time, or maybe even over weeks or months. It could be interesting to ask, like, is there a different brand relation, for example, establishing on a platform like Instagram, where I also collect things, and it's a bit like also a treasure cave for styling and so on. So TikTok is really a different pace. Do you see any chance to study these things, or are there any studies that already make this discuss these issues?
I'm not familiar yet with studies dealing with the really long-term effect, because also TikTok is a quite young platform, isn't it? So what we can hypothesize is that there will be an effect out there, that TikTok maybe also the effectiveness of being that surprising and not that expected as Instagram will also be changing over time. So being the younger platform and also having like the more alertness out there, because people are like diving into this platform, and what can you do other than letting yourself surprise? This is something which we observe now, but can also change over time. And also this will affect how brands will appear on that platform, I can assume. But this would be really interesting to test in the end. And also from a product perspective, I mean, now we had looked at the image-related ads, and we need to investigate a bit more what is with product placement, product stages. Will Instagram will be maybe more the platform to be advertising like this on that platform rather than on TikTok maybe? So yeah, this is a good question. We need to investigate a bit more.
Okay. Thank you, Nuria. I think we move on to the next part. Thanks.